Yo, what's going on, people? It's your boy, Seven Deadly Sins, aka Stacks Demigod Johnson. Everybody, how you doing? Now, listen, we talking the transgender, looking at debates and stuff like that. We're about to look at Piers Morgan having an interview. I was just watching it. I had to stop it because I need to chime in. Ah, God. Now, listen, people. I can get very loud and crazy at times. So if you don't like hearing loud and crazy at times, then I suggest you stop watching now. You get me? So I'm going to break down this video. I'm going to be commenting off some of the crap that I hear. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, enjoy the show. And yo, this is school. You'll also be having homework. So make sure you learn something.
Welcome back to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Still to come tonight, Burberry's Valentine's Day advert is accused of glamorising mastectomies. Should brands be activists like this or just stick to selling handbags? We'll debate that later. But first, she's been nicknamed Christian Mum. Izzy Montague launched legal action in 2019 against her son's London school over an LGBT pride parade. Tomorrow, her case goes to court. It's the first case of its kind in the UK. She will claim a pride parade held at the...
Now, I know many of you may have seen this before. You get me? So I'm just letting you, I'm just reminding you what I'm doing. I'm just chiming in over some of the things that I've heard and more that I haven't heard, you know, because at this point it's ridiculous.
School promoted gay lifestyles and indoctrinated children, and her child was 4 at the time. It's a debate raging on both sides of the Atlantic. In the US, 78% of parents do not believe sexual orientation or gender identity should be taught to young children. And now Donald Trump has, of course, got involved and said it's going to be a central part of his bid to return to the White House, branding gender ideology a cult.
We're going to stop the left-wing radical racists and perverts who are trying to indoctrinate our youth, and we're going to get their Marxist hands off of our children.
Hail Donald Trump.
We're going to defeat the cult of gender ideology and reaffirm that God created 2 genders called men and women.
Well, Ava, I can feel bristling to my side here, joined also by...
Let me chime in. Natural order. Shout out to Donald Trump, by the way. But natural order, men and women, there was never anything extra in between or anything like that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like trannies never existed, because they clearly have, because clowns have existed and clowns have been out for a long time. And from when they was out, when you look at some research stuff, you know that they was about at the same time clowning around, right? Yeah, that might make too much sense to y'all, but just do some research and you'll see what I'm talking about. But my point is this, right? Even though there were 1 or 2 that was doing that, and in the human world that's considered mad or mental issues, that's why it was banned for millennium. It was banned all this time. It's been banned. You know what I'm saying? And now we come to a point where it's no longer banned, and this group of people have all this power. Why? Like they've been bullied all the time, like they've been top story, like they've been in, you know what I've noticed about life, right? When they want people to support another group, they will put them in a TV show or music or something, right? And they uplift them, they give them good talking points or good positions, like in, like, let me say a TV show. Like if it was something like EastEnders in the UK or something like that, it'd be a role where a transgender saved somebody's life, or a transgender was being bullied and everyone's feeling sorry for this transgender being bullied all the time. You know what I'm trying to say? That's how they win over the UK people's hearts. I've seen it. I've been studying this for a long ass time. I see how to control UK people's minds. Do you understand? Anyway, I don't want to talk too much just now. We're going to keep going.
Paula and Adrian is also bristling. Richard Tice, I don't know, probably nodding away. Also with me now is LGBT rights campaigner Peter Tatchell and the Fox News contributor Tommy Lehrer. Well, welcome, a stellar panel, I've got to say, for this. All right, Tommy Lehrer, let me start with you. This has been a big burning issue in America now, raging away for quite some time. It's one of the reasons I think that Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, has seen such surging popularity, potentially heading him to the White House in this battle over what you can teach at school with young people in relation to this kind of thing. What is your view?
Listen, we do not need to be teaching this radical LGBT grooming agenda in schools. It's one thing if parents want to do that on their own time. That is a parent's right to do that, with some exceptions, of course. But to bring this in and bake this into a public school curriculum is wrong. And meanwhile, Chinese students are learning quantum physics, and we've got our students learning how to twerk from drag queens. It's not...
Facts. Have you noticed what the Chinese are learning in the schools? Have you seen it? Should I even show the clip with this? I wish I had it prepared. At some point, I'll upload it onto Facebook. But yo, they're learning quantum physics. They're in the schools and they're doing all this stuff. Meanwhile, looking at England and America, you know, focusing on destroying kids, which makes no sense. But I'm going to give a breakdown about that at some point after this.
Going to end well. This is grooming. This is ideological mind control. It's introducing this to a group of individuals, especially to young kids who have no business learning any of this sexually explicit material. This is not about being anti-gay, or as the incorrectly labeled Ron DeSantis' bill, don't say gay. This is about keeping this out of the classroom because it does not belong there. This is a grooming agenda. It is extreme. It is explicit. It does not belong in front.
Facts. See, most of the people have got a problem with it being in the schools, and they know that. But have you noticed? They talk about different points. Have you noticed they're not focusing on what we're focusing on, which is the kids in schools? So they want to do this to the kids in schools, knowing of all the bad feedback, of all the death of these kids, of what have happening, these mishap transmission, whatever the word is. You know what I'm saying? Like all the stuff that's going on, they know about it, and they are just focusing on the one or two that are kind of happy. We know it's deeper than that, though. They're getting paid. This is an agenda. If people don't understand what an agenda is, it's when they push something. Notice how it's all up in the adverts, all up in your face. You turn on your TV right now and you can see it all on the TV screens, right? They're pushing it, putting it in drink, games, all this stuff. Cars, all this stuff. They're pushing it in your face so you look used to it. This is them saying basically you got no rights. You're going to accept this. You understand? You're gonna like it, whether you like it or not. That's what they're trying to do. Get me? Because basically, look how many people. Listen, the majority of the world don't do. Some worlds don't even accept them people in there to get killed. Right? We've heard. We know what it is. Some laws in different countries, they don't accept it. So the majority of the world don't stand for this. Is my point. So now they just popped up out of nowhere with an agenda to destroy our kids. We're not saying you can't do what you're doing. You know, if you're grown and you're that, do what you're doing. We ain't stopping nothing. They've just got something about the kids. So think about it, right? Now, I want you to really think about it, right? Get me? Is there something really like deeper going on here? Do you understand? Like, if we've got a problem with the kids part of it, they should listen to us. Since they want to be accepted, right? Since they're trying to fit in, we've got a problem with the kid thing. Kids shouldn't even be on the issue, on the table. This kid incident stuff, matter, should not even be on the table. But they put it on the table and they keep it on the table, right? I wonder why though. I wonder why they haven't removed it and said, all right, no kids in school stuff. Boom, boom, boom. They can learn they can learn about it after the age of 17 or some shit. Make that law. This is an agenda, everybody. You gotta pay attention to everything that's going on, especially in the background. You understand? Because at the end of the day, I know everybody that's sane of mind is gonna fight for their kids. You know what I'm saying? I know everybody is not going to accept this brainwashing onto their kids. You know what I'm trying to say? I mean, listen, and I will say this. I'm talking too long. I'm sorry. I know some people are kind of like born that way. I've been hearing. So I accept that. There's certain people that I accept from birth, from kids. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I mean, even that's a bit strange to me. But as long as no parents pushing it on the child, then yeah, I accept it. But other than that, if it's not that way, parents shouldn't be pushing it on the child. There should be a law about that, and also there should be a law saying, like, only either in the last year of school. If you're going to teach it in school, it has to be the very last year of school, because then at that age, 16 15, whatever, right, kids are just going to walk out that classroom like, I don't want no part of learning this. I don't need to learn none of this. Hold on, let me answer this phone.
Agenda. It is extreme. It is explicit. It does not belong in front of young children at their school. They should be learning reading, writing, and arithmetic, not this filth.
Right, but I think you've made your position quite clear there, Ms. Laren. I imagine, Peter Tatchell, you agree with every word of that?
Well, here in Britain, we know from research that nearly half of all lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender pupils in our schools have been bullied, teased, sometimes subjected to physical violence.
But why is that? Because it is something that is okay, right? Are we talking about gays? Are we talking about transgenders right here? If it's gays, I've already gave a little breakdown about that. Is some are adamant that they are, gay then, and they're like, rock that way, and it was that way from the birthday up. Then, so be it. If anything, why isn't there no classes for kids that think that they're gay? Helping them out, trying to make them understand that, where then classes that, since you want to give classes, where the straight classes, where the classes for the kids that are confused, to put them back in line? Where's that? Am I missing something?
Simply because of their sexuality or their gender identity. So this education in British schools is designed to combat bullying and to promote understanding and acceptance. None of the teaching in British schools is sexually explicit, nor is any of the material in United States schools. It is all about promoting understanding and tolerance.
No. Have we seen the problem here? And we just quickly dissected it. There is no schools out there or no help for kids that are growing up confused. There is no help for that. In fact, what they're saying is, instead of putting out help for that, we would just accept what they are and, won't help them figure it out and get back to the right way. We'll just play on it, make them think that, that's what they are, that's what they're meant to be. So hopefully in the long run, they will destroy themselves. Because, going through all these transitions and stuff like that. Now that makes sense. If you know about true plans of, population control, stuff like that. So there's always a want for numbers to come down. And later on, numbers will come down in the fact of this, or even early, mistakes going wrong, people committing suicide. And it happens, right? You've got to look at the long-term effects as well as the short. So most people look at the short. Most people look at the happiness that they can get. Yeah, I get to be a bird. You know what I'm trying to say? But then when they try and jump off a tall building and flap and fly, get me? And then they land and die, get me? That's when reality strikes. You know what I'm saying? They're not showing them the true dangers of what they're walking into. There is no school saying that these kids, do you know what's going to happen if you take this route? More than likely, huh?
So what's just been said is a complete misrepresentation of the teaching. And I think that any parent would want their child to be brought up in a school where understanding and acceptance of difference is valued, where people are not bullied because of their sexuality.
Okay, here's what I would say.
No. See, you're going to try that card. What about black people? You was bullied one time in school with and no slavery and stuff, and at some time, listen, that still happens to this day. Happens to this day. And listen, when we're talking about bullying and you're referring it to kids learning about changing their sexuality overall, accepting that they're not supposed to be that way when they're kids, their mind's not developed. How come we're not talking about the states of kids' minds? Get me? Kids are confused at that age. So how are you going to go into a school when kids' minds are not developed and they're very confused and they're still growing and trying to understand life? How are you going to push that on them? Huh? You're pushing it in movies and cartoons and everything. I see what you're doing. I see everything. I see, yo. Let's go, though.
Peter, I don't disagree with some of what you just said. I think the issue here is age. I've got 4 kids. You've all gone through, obviously, all this. I just think the idea that at 4, any child should be exposed to anything like this is ridiculous. I really do. They're just nowhere near old enough to understand or even begin to understand any of the stuff that is being taught in this way. So, although...
All right, then. I'm sorry, Piers Morgan. I got one more question. Sex education, normal sex education that schools have done before. What age was that? Huh? What age was it? Because it was nowhere near the age that they're doing this at, right? Now, can you see that there's an agenda to kill the kids, man? Can you see it? Can you see it? When we had sex education in school, I'm sure we was like 14, 13, 14, them ages, something like that. Maybe even 15, I can't remember. You understand? Long time ago. But you get my point, though. They've gone into the baby schools doing this. The grooming and ready for the pedophiles. Listen, I'm going to tell you what really is up. My mouth can be messy, but listen, I'm going to deliver the truth, whether you like it or not. If you're not ready for the truth, please exit, because I know what side you've chosen at that point. Do you understand? Get me? But I'm not going to sit up here and try and talk like I own a courtroom. I'm not going to sit up here and try and talk like I'm a doctor. You understand? I'm just going to give it you raw, hot, and rugged. You understand? You can play with my words and turn it into some long paragraph if you like. You know what I'm saying? But the truth shall set y'all free. And my words can't cater for everybody. You understand? Like if I was to sit here and use big long words, like certain people ain't gonna understand what the hell I'm saying. You understand? At least those that know big long words, right? They know what I'm saying at a lower level of talking. So makes perfect sense, right? Keep it ferg and give hugs. Let's go.
This woman in this court case did this on religious grounds. She's a Catholic, and this is what her, she believes her religion has taught her to believe. That's one debate. But actually, the wider debate for me is, what age should we be teaching kids about things like gender identity? And should they be compelled to go on pride parades and so on at the age of 4? I don't think so.
4,
No one is compelling any child to go on a pride parade anywhere. Not in school, not in the street.
Silence. Listen, like I'm saying, this question stands. Sex education is taught in schools. What's the age of sex education? Listen, this needs to be thrown out there first, because my God. Listen, I know I went 4 years old when they taught us about sex education in school. I know for a fact I wasn't. I know for a fact. You understand? So compare numbers here, and then you got to ask the question why. You understand? And then you will know the enemy. All right.
Nowhere. And when it comes to teaching, the teaching is not about sex at a young age. It's about relationships, and the fact that some kids will be in married heterosexual families, some will be in single families, some will be in extended families.
Some will be in rooms wearing nothing, showing off their hairy legs and their scary makeup covered over the face. He's not even like he's trying to be women. He's trying to be something out like a goblin, a gremlin or something. But he's staying in the woman's title. Why would you do that? Be something different. Some of y'all don't expect light-skinned people as black. Some of y'all don't accept some of y'all say light-skinned people ain't black. Do you understand? Some light-skinned people don't look at themselves as black, but then there's something different then, right? So why can't you do the same? Why can't you do the same? Why are you trying to stay in the female's name? Why are you trying to kill our babies in the same process? Makes no sense. Agenda, agenda, agenda. Okay? God damn. If it don't make sense, then it can't be true. And when you see a lot of these transsexuals, the way they act in interviews, it makes you want to say, hell, yo, mental issues. So these people have got mental issues. So like I'm saying, they're gonna give the kids mental issues, and then you're gonna see them grow up in the state of these people that you see giving interviews, right? Think about it. You get me? You're gonna mess up the kids' heads. Kids are gonna go up and say that, yo, mom, dad, why did you let me go through this? Or they'll be thinking it and never say it. Yo, people, you gotta realize what you're doing, but at the same time, you was all tricked as well. But that's in part 2. Let's carry on.
And some will be in same-sex families. It's all about different families that kids in our schools are part of. And of course, all those kids should feel loved and appreciated. The essence of this teaching is about love and respect for other people. It's not about sex at all.
Okay,
you know, they've got things like all boys school, all girls schools. So why isn't there all gay school, should I say? I don't know, tranny school. Like why isn't there that? You get me? About being accepted. Listen. No one expects to see kids in school, male kids, right, with all kind of makeup on their face and wearing high heels. It shouldn't even be in there. That should never happen. You understand? The parents are to blame if that is happening, because if the parents are doing that, then they need to lose their kids. There's no way they should be having their kids prance around looking like a girl. No way. They failed. Do you understand? And for the kids, for the school, oh my God, listen. I'm just trying to say, right? Get me? Keep this away from kids. It's simple. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people's lives are being damaged from this, right? You know it. That's why you keep popping it. This brings me back to Corona, you know, and all the lies that was coming out at the start. Listen, stop playing a game with these kids' life. Seriously. Play a game with your life, man. You're nearly out of here anyway. You can tell by the wrinkles. Let's carry on, yo.
In the panel here, Paula.
Good evening. I completely agree with Peter, and I'm really concerned that a commentator could use the words radical and grooming when we're having a very sensible conversation about helping children to understand who they are.
As we saw that, Paula,
it is a mother's and father's responsibility. That's the first steps of a parent. Nobody ever asked the school system or you. Who demanded this? Ladies and gentlemen, who called for hired help? They haven't even got books out there showing people how to be a parent, like, you know, bringing up a child. They haven't even got books. Well, they probably have now. This was one of my arguments like 8 years ago or so. It's probably been invented now. Should be, right? Because I was just simply asking somebody that was successful, bringing up their children, you understand? Write a book. Since there's so many people out there talking about, oh, there isn't a book on how to bring up a child. Well, just successful people that have done that, as in successful for bringing up their kids and they've left the house kind of thing. Or maybe they're halfway through it, whatever. Those that are, you know, write a book. Help those that are struggling. These days you can make a video. Look at that, I'm giving people help right now. Get me? So anyway, listen, this woman is chatting nothing but garbage, all right? Kids don't need to know that. She's part of the agenda. Yeah, all right then, let me help England out, because some might not know about agendas and stuff, right? You know, when we're looking over at America, right? And you see all that demonic stuff, especially when it comes to the music and the doing all that devilish act shit, throwing up the devil signs, and the men are wearing women's clothes and the posing about and stuff, you know. And you hear even some things about cults and you know. But this is the UK version. It's the UK version. What's going on right now? Y'all wouldn't understand it, yeah. See, this is even another conversation, a very long conversation. which we haven't got time for. But just know, right? Get me? Yeah, like this woman right here sold herself. The other guy with her, he sold himself to. Do you understand? They're getting paid a lot of money. Do you understand? To do what they're doing right now. And I don't mean from Piers Morgan. Nope. Nope. They're playing a role, everybody. Get me? They're playing a role. Anyway, let's keep going on.
28% of Americans would share a lot of the views that Tommy Laren expressed there. They do not want to see kids aged 4 getting bombarded with this kind of ideology at school.
But what kind of ideology? What exactly are we talking about? And if you listen to Peter, he
Well,
explains it
I'll
very
give an
carefully.
example.
We're talking about big ass grown hairy leg men with messed up makeup on their face. Anyway, we're talking about men trying to dress like slutty ass women, trying to dress like prostitute women. You understand? Wearing next to nothing. You understand? Showcasing themselves in front of a room for the kids. Why? Why would you do that? Why ain't you putting out the message to say, mothers and fathers, you need to start teaching your kids at home more about this, that, and the other? Whatever happened to passing the message out to the mothers or fathers? You didn't. Oh my God, there's so much I could talk about. I've spoke about many things. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to put one thing to your attention. Have y'all understood the power of a birth certificate? Do you understand what a birth certificate really means? Okay, I need to tell you this before we carry on. A birth certificate means that your kid's birth certificate means, and yours actually, it means, but for the kids, that your kids don't own, that you don't own your kids. The government owns your kids. You're the babysitter. Whatever, stats, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Go and look it up. Listen, a birth certificate means you're a babysitter. The government they own you too. You got a babysitter. You got a birth certificate, right? They own you too. Your mother doesn't own you. That's right. Your mother doesn't own you. The government does. Your mother's your babysitter. You need to look that shit up. I ain't even lying to y'all. I've just gave y'all some homework. Remember, I did say homework to you, didn't I? Remember, I did say homework. Let's carry on though.
When you start teaching kids, I mean, the BBC, for example, had one of their teaching videos said there were over 100 genders. The BBC should not be teaching children there are 100 genders. One of them was astrogender, which is an affinity with the stars, right? The ones flying around the moon. I'm sorry. I do actually think that children should not be exposed to that kind of claptrap.
I don't dictate the curriculum,
can we let
but
children
I doubt
be
that's
children?
on there.
Particularly at that age.
Come on, Richard, they're growing up in households.
No, there's an age, there's an appropriate...
family.
See, Piers, you're saying the wrong things, right? Well, you're probably saying the right things too. But at the same time, listen, because this black woman right here, she keeps jumping up like she's getting... Listen, anyway, I should cuss her out, but I'm not going to. I'm going to try and be nice with it. You understand? But listen, she's pushing the message way too hard. Like, she hasn't got no understanding. But yet, with the first with understanding, so she's clearly part of the agenda. Do you understand? Clearly. I can see straight through it. It's clearly part of the agenda. Oh, but we got to help the people to understand. Listen, why are you starting off in the nurseries for? Why don't you start in the, senior school? How come you start in there? How can you start in there like normal sex education did? Huh? Who you trying to sell this to? You get me? You know what? Go to Africa and promote that. See where you get. Go to Africa and promote that and see where you get. It's funny, right? You know, oh God, man, it's funny because it's the UK and America that's pushing this agenda and they're trying to push it on other countries and they're saying no. Have you heard the bad press that England's had over the many years and America? What everybody says. Have you heard the bad press though? Have you heard what these countries think about England and America? Call them devil countries. You know, we're the ones bringing out all this madness and stuff like that. Now listen, like I'm saying, yeah, get me? You are what you are at whatever point. But people, parents, you need to do your job. You need to do more into convincing them to stay in their lane. And listen, we're gonna do a part 2. Well, it's gonna be a part 3, 4. You know what I'm saying? And some things that can, let's say, make a baby, make your child, make any child, maybe big chance, gay. We're gonna talk on some examples and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, we can go 10 toes down with this whole subject right now, because I know a lot. And it's always good to put out information, right? Especially when it comes to this kind of shit. Pardon my French.
Their families have the
There are
conversations
millions of
they feel they
parents
should have.
who are desperately concerned about what is being taught in primary school. And the truth is, we don't know what's
But
being
you
taught.
have just
for far too
heard about the high percentage of children who suffer bullying, who are vulnerable,
and
where
that's
safeguarding
about-
is very relevant.
Notice that she keeps going back to that point. We have just heard about the high percentages. Listen, woman, there will always be bullying in school, and there definitely will be bullied when kids are going in there dressing up with when little boys are walking into school with makeup on their face and high heels. It shouldn't be happening. So nobody should be getting bullied in school. You see, this is crazy. Let's talk about it. She talk about 4 year. They're in 4-year-old schools and shit. Yeah. So sorry about my language again. But why there are 4-year-olds and stuff going home talking about them being bullied? Are 5-year-olds? Huh? No, they're conditioning the mind. That's what they're doing. They're conditioning. It's like brainwashing. Oh my God, it's making me sick. It's making me sick. Not too long ago, we heard about the bodies in the Queen's Gardens. Not too long ago, Biden came into office and found about his island with all the little kids on. All the little kid things started popping up, and now we got the agenda. Now we have got the agenda. Reckon. You know what is funny? Remember that little girl, and may she rest in peace. Remember the little girl that went missing? She had blonde hair a couple months ago, and they found a body. It was something by the riverbank or something like that. I think that was the same person anyway. Do you remember the outcry for that young little girl? How old was she? You see the love it was for the kid? See that love? See how much love? You see how much love the UK got together, and it was showing love. Like everybody was like tuning in, watching the news, because it was a little kid, a little precious little flower that just getting ready to blossom. You know what I'm saying? That's our future right there. Kids are our future right there, and we're letting these people go into our schools and destroy them from the mind. From the mind, people, you got to understand. You really got to understand how deep this is. Do you understand? Some of y'all just don't get it because you're not meant to. They build they like to try and build dumb people on this planet. I don't mean dumb like as educated. People that switch off and people just, I wish I was more educated to speak on these matters, because some of y'all do like them big ass long words, don't you?
To their
teaching
teaching
tolerance
and their
and empathy.
education.
That's got
So
nothing to
how
do with
you
gender or
that
ideology.
without
You don't need to
having
teach.
a pride parade. That's what this is about.
Because
It's not about being proud to be gay.
No,
it's
you
about
can
being
teach-
proud to
you
be
can
you.
teach.
Yeah.
You need to be tolerance and understanding, but not at 4, 5, 6, 7,
Fine.
8,
don't
or
hear
But we
radical
actually do
agreement
do
as
that.
being
Aside
tolerant.
from all of this, we actually teach sex quite explicitly in heterosexual relationships from a really young age. You actually have children in nativity plays where you're playing a mother who has an immaculate conception and then gives birth to a baby. What are you teaching about?
And
You're
how do
talking
they
about
understand
If
sex.
you've ever, as I have
Exactly.
done 4 times, had kids who've appeared in these things they've
Yeah.
fought, they haven't got a Scooby-Doo what any of that
Well, I
means.
grew up Catholic,
Right?
and I
no
knew
one's
what sex
teaching-
was from a
no
very
one's
young
teaching-
age.
Well, I'm sure you did.
But what's the purpose of that story? The purpose of that story is love.
Yes.
The purpose of that
That's
story
fine.
is bringing
That's
people
fine.
together.
It's
and
when you
that
start
is
getting
what the
into-
4-year-old
Purpose of the story is love. All right, and so what is love? What is love, woman? Huh? Look like Huckleberry from flipping Police Academy. What is love? What is love? Get me? What is love? Do you understand what love is? Do you understand what love is? Yeah, I'm talking to this woman right now, everybody. I don't think she knows what love is. You get me? Love is not destroying and programming people's minds at an early age. When a baby is that age, the mother, the father have got the main responsibility of educating that baby. You understand? Do you understand? I want to give a shout out to every parent out there that has been talking to their kids so they know about this, so they know not to take in this stuff. But you let me stress one more thing again. There's a reason why they're not putting this in schools at the age of 15 and 16, you know. There's a reason for that. You know why? Because the kids will just walk out the classroom. As the babies, they're subjected to sit there and just take it in, like try and understand it, like, yeah, this looks weird but funny, yeah. Mommy, I want to be one. You see? You see? But when you know, when you grow and your mind's formed, and you're at the age of 14, 15, 16, you get me? You're going to reject that. You're going to walk out the room. So this is clearly, ladies and gentlemen, it makes me sick. Yo, look out for part 2. We're going to end that here because I know a lot of y'all haven't gotten a long attention spasm thing, whatever it's called. You know what I'm saying? Because of all these short clips that they've been putting out. What do you call them? What do you call them things that they've been putting all on YouTube and all that stuff? And even on Facebook, the last like 20 seconds. It gives people short attention, whatever. That's another form of programming. When you start watching them all the time, you're used to watching short things, and you ain't got time to watch anything long. Like facts, man. You see, you just don't understand witchcraft. You don't understand witchcraft. Really, you need to look this stuff up, everybody. I really want you to. I really want you to look. You have to look deeper. You understand? And you will see truth, yo. You get me? They're destroying our kids. And if you remember and think, take time out, think back of all the steps it's been to get to this point. Think of everything that's either something to do with either being transsexual or gay. Just think back many years. Just think back. And you will see the stepping stones for these agendas, what they put out. Then a couple of years after, they put something else out to relate to that. And then a couple of years after, boom, boom, boom. Listen. I pay attention, man. I pay attention. I pay too much attention. I don't, and I do. It's crazy. I just remember stuff. And then things come my way, and I'll be like, oh, okay, well, they've done that before. Well, something like that. Back then, and boom, boom, boom. Oh, I see what they're doing. I see what these are doing. I get it. The start is something. This is the stepping stones of something greater. Okay. Well, I got my eye on you. I'll carry on. Crazy thing is, am I at fault? But then no, I'm not. Because I've tried talking, especially on my Facebook, try letting people know something's coming or boom, 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 and bam, bam, bam. And instantly you got the little agenda soldiers rushing in saying, it's lies, blah, blah, blah. Prove this and blah, blah, blah. And you know who I'm talking about, right? Okay, let's give this 5 more minutes and then I'm gonna go.
Well, I want to bring back Tommy Laren here because we've had a really scandalous case in the last few days, Tommy, here in the UK, of a transgender person who committed 2 rapes when identifying as a man, rapes of women, and before the court case started, it had transitioned to become a woman, and then was tried under a female name. And then when he was convicted, this person, I'm using that term deliberately, I think, because I'm unconvinced by this transition process. When this person was then convicted, the brought in a law which allowed this trans person to then be put into a woman's prison as a woman who had literally got a penis and raped 2 women. So that not only were they being punished by being put into a place where they could attack other women, but they were being treated as if they were legitimately exactly the same as a woman born to a female biological body.
I remember that story. I really do. That did indeed happen, you know?
What do you make of that?
Piers, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Yeah, this is
Piers,
a
with all
problem that
respect.
we are encountering
Okay,
in the
Peter,
US.
I'll come to you. You can correct me.
She was-
Well, Peter, you can correct me. All right, well, hang on. Let's go to Peter first. Correct me on what I said that was wrong.
She was put into a woman's prison, but in a segregation unit where she had
He. You can't call it a she where it goes in and starts raping with a cocky. He. At that point, I don't care if you want to keep calling these people she's. No, when you're in a situation like that and you've raped somebody and you've used your penis, you can't call it a she, can you? This is deluded. This is crazy. This is mental. Why? You know what? Let's just carry on.
no contact with other women.
But she
and
shouldn't
that
have
is
been put in there
quite
at
right.
all.
A rapist must never. A rapist should never have contact or be a potential risk to other women. She's now been moved to a male prison, quite rightly, and again, she will have no.
She should never have any like a rapist should have never contact around women. She's now being moved. Get me? How long? She's been there the whole time, but you're there saying she should never have content. So these people don't do nothing about it. They don't do anything about what these transgender people are doing. They ain't doing nothing. They're just giving off silly ass commentary about it.
Contact with women.
Why do you say
So
she's been?
it's
Why do you say
incorrect to
she has
say
been moved
that-
to a male prison? Quite rightly, though, because that immediately to me sounds incredibly confusing. You're saying she, so you presumably think that she is a woman, and yet she is being moved to a male prison because nobody else actually now thinks she is actually a woman. She's a man with a penis who raped two women. I mean, that's the reality. Even her ex, or his or her,
Good point.
first, whatever, their ex-wife said that this is all a complete scam to game the system and get into a softer prison.
Well, I think you're probably right. I think it does look like the person is gaming the system. But, the fact is that
But you know when you add a but after anything you say, it cancels out what you just said. Okay, remember that, everybody. Whenever you say a but, it's like saying, you know what? I'm sorry for running him over in my 4-wheeler, but he got in the way. But it don't matter. But I had something in my eye. You see, you just cancelled everything out. Facts, man.
the transfer to a woman's prison was not based on any new law introduced by the Scottish Government. It was based on existing policy, which was to respect a person's gender identity, but not under any circumstances put someone who'd committed crimes against women in contact with other women, and that's why she was in a segregation unit.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't.
So wait there. So So the guy raped somebody. I'm gonna call it a man. He raped somebody, went to prison, and raped somebody again. Then they put him in the thingy bob unit. This guy don't make no sense. First he said they shouldn't put him around people like that could get raped. He went in there for rapes. They put him around people that he could rape, and he did rape them. So what's his point? He's just trying to, what he's doing right, what the guy on the left is doing right, he's just basically saying, I know it's wrong. What should have happened is blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. He's just speaking, but not giving a real, whatever.
I think what I said was wrong because by new law I meant this is a law that's come in recent years, which allowed that gender identity to be enforced in the way that it was enforced. And Tommy Laren, I just have a massive problem with people. This is what I've been saying from the start about this trans debate. The moment you open the door to this kind of abuse by people, it will happen.
Right.
It's a bit like cheating in sport.
Right.
Once you allow it, everyone starts to cheat, right? You're going to get a load of people who, male rapists, male sex offenders. What's utopia for them if they get convicted? Being taken from a men's prison where they're pariahs and put into a woman's prison surrounded by people they can attack.
But there are over 200...
Did you notice how he's just like, boom? He's Adam's apple. He's sweating right now, that guy on the left.
Yeah, so I want to be very clear about this. Not everybody who is transgender does something like this. My turn to talk. Not everybody who is transgender is going to do something like this, but you're opening the door for this. And even beyond that, when we're not even talking about a women's or a men's prison, let's just talk about here in the USA, and I know in the UK as well, when they're having biological men compete in women's sports, using the same locker rooms, exposing themselves to the female athletes that are often in high school. It's inappropriate. It doesn't belong in schools. It doesn't belong in society. This free-for-all you can identify as anything. You can abuse the system. You can abuse this whole notion of gender identity. It's gone too far. And to even criticize it now has been labeled bigotry. It's not. It's reality.
Okay.
We need to protect people. We need to especially protect young people.
Well, I actually agree with all that. Peter
All that,
Tatchell,
me
I mean,
too.
I've been
Me too.
watching some interviews you've been doing. I do think you've been, on a mission of discovery yourself about the perils here of this, particularly in this case in Scotland, of this rapist. But if I was to ask you now a question which has become the most dangerous, controversial question in the world for some reason, what is a woman to you?
A trans woman is a woman, but not the same as biological women. There's a difference between biological sex and gender identity. Both are equally valid, both equally deserve respect and equal rights. There should not be a competition between biological women.
Listen. He said, what is a woman? He said, what is a woman? You're talking about some stupidness. Listen, a woman is not a man. A woman has a vagina. A woman has titties, okay? And a woman has hips where babies can come through. A woman has a special little hole with a goal for the cocky that a man holds, okay? So let's go to the man. A man has a cocky, okay? It's like a shrimp, you know what I'm saying? And some people, it's like a python, you know what I'm saying? And they have two nuts hanging right by it, banging sometimes, annoying each other. You understand? That's what a man is. You understand? Oh boy, male. You understand? So now that we know what they are, there should be nothing else. Like there should be, if anything else, when you see somebody who has a cocky and a punani, okay, I'm trying to use nice words. When you see somebody that was born with a cocky and a punani, what is that title? Whatever title that is, that's what you want to call yourself. You understand? Even though you wasn't even born with that. See, but we're giving you a little present here. We've already got a title for you. Stop trying to use the women. Leave the woman out of it. You're nothing like the woman. You can't give kids. You can't give birth. You don't have a vagina. You understand? And you don't have titties unless you go to the doctors and you have some fake ones there. You understand? But you're not naturally, you cannot give milk. You understand? You don't have hips for a baby to come through naturally. Do you understand? I'm sorry, it's just what it is. You don't have, you know what I'm saying? A woman, a female, has a certain structure here, like God gives them a code, you know what I'm saying? And man recognizes that code, you know what I'm saying? So that code that the woman has, you will never have it. You can try and look like one, but you're only faking yourself. Do you understand? It's your own delusion trying to be that what you can't be. Do you understand? That's like, you remember the terminology or whatever it's called, right? Where people say, you grow up to be like your mom, or you grow up to be like your dad, or you grow up to little girls will grow up to find a man that's just like their dad, and boys will grow up to find a woman that's just like their mom. Do you understand? We don't grow up to find a man boys don't grow up to find a man that's just like their dad, or girls don't grow up to find a woman that's just like their mom. You see what's going on? And now y'all trying to say, well, that's a possibility. That could be this case. I know I grew up when I wanted to be like my mom. You know what I'm saying? So that's you and your thoughts. When the coding of life is not supposed to go like that. So how about this? What you do, you focus on educating people that are confused. Okay, we got to put them back on the right track. And if that don't work, then yes, you give them their kudos. Do you understand? But make a schooling for this. Let these people, these little kids or whatever, go to school, a special kind of lesson, whatever, where they can have proper training, and don't make it expensive so they can't go. No, make this, if this is a common thing, which is not, you understand? But they're going to paint it like it is. But if this is a common thing, then it should be a lot of people attending. You understand? There should be a lot of people attending. So we don't see any problem now, do we? We know how to fix this. We know how to get it all in ship shape and order. You can't just bring something out and throw it in the schools and expect everybody to jump along with it. No, you got to prove to ourselves that you are sure that you are the way you are and you're not mental. We want you all mentally evaluated. Okay? And on that note, I'm going to go. How much time is left on this? Oh, let me just play to the end. But I'm going to say my goodbyes now when it ends. I'm Audi. And yo, we're going to have to keep on with this subject. Because this is, hey, if they never brought it to the kids, it'd be all right, man. I'd be like, yo, go live your life and do your thing, man. Stop bothering people. We ain't bothering you. Stop bothering us. You know what I'm saying? But it's not that way, is it? See, we have to be bothered, and that's where the agenda comes in. There's no need to implement the kids. Right. Right. Anyway.
And trans women, they both suffer from very elevated levels of domestic violence, sexual assault, including rape. That applies to both trans women and other women as well. So let's find the common ground rather than fighting each other. The enemy is misogyny. That's the enemy, not trans women.
Well,
no, I'll tell you what the enemy is. The enemy is what's going on in the household. Couple examples. I did say I was going to leave it for part 2, but did you know because of some abuse that goes on in the household and the kids watch it, that's what turns some of them gay? Did you know that? Did you also know kids being raped and abused in the household, that's what turns them gay too? Huh? Did you know this? Are these steps even spoken about? I don't think they are. Do you understand? Some little girls watch their mom get beat up, and then they hate men. And they grow up that way, they don't want a man nowhere near them. And vice versa, right? But none of these steps are talked about. And there's more steps. I just named 3. I just made 3. You understand? And it's easiest, well, I won't say easier, but there's like, man, like I'm saying, we're going to come back for another part and talk about it. Yeah, because I'm going to make sure you're aware of what you need to be aware of. And I'm sure y'all know this stuff, but you know, we gotta do what we gotta do. You understand? If you don't care about your kids, then F you. Anyway, I think I'm done right now. Goddamn.
I think the enemy is misogyny in many ways, but I think the enemy is also virtue signaling, because the idea that you can let trans women who have massively superior physical bodies compete in professional sport against women born to female inferior physical bodies, I think is for the birds. But we will, actually, that's an unfortunate turn of phrase. No offence to anyone who's offended by my use of the word birds. But thank you very much, Peter Tatchell. Great to have you on the programme.
That's right. Birds. That was the woman's title, the girl's title, whatever. Remember back in the day? Check out that bird. Tweet, tweet. Remember when you call girls birds, though? Anyway, I mean, what do we call a transsexual? A dragon. Huh? Check out that dragon. God damn, she looks like a fire-breathing dragon. Listen, all right, I'm joking. Hey, listen, anyway, listen. Yo, this is knowledge. We in school. We don't know that. No one take offense to nothing, but you can understand my frustration. So you tranny people that are not about this life, please, you need to stand up and fight back. Show your teammates that you're not down with that. You understand? You just want to be a tranny in peace. Okay? Okay. Just like I want to be black in peace. But I get harassed every day from police and everything, yo. Haters get me just from the color of my skin. You understand? That issue's not even finished yet. But look, we're on this issue now. After all these years, look, we're talking about tranny stuff. And then they even took care of the black issues yet. Right? There's loads of issues out there for all different kind of races. But I'm just saying, weren't black issues one of the first? Right. Okay. They don't fix problems. Just put them to the side. and put another one in. So then there's more problems. There's more problems for people to keep their eye on and have to deal with while they're in the background, cooking up more problems and bringing in the next destruction button. You know how it goes. It's your boy Seven, aka Stacks Demigod, aka 7DS. I think I said that. Did I say that? I'm out here anyway. Peace, people. Blessings.